This is the assembly video for the Hewitt 4600 vertical lift. Lay out and inventory all of your parts and pieces. It's important to lay out your uprights as shown. Start by identifying corner post number 1. Insert leveling legs into all 4 corner posts. Insert the leveling leg pin and secure with a cotter pin. To simplify your assembly, set the leveling legs to the lowest position. The long base has 2 additional holes that need to face the ground. Notice the cross brace has 3 holes that must face the top. To mount, use 4 3/8 inch by 1 inch nuts and bolts. Repeat the same process with the long base on all 4 corners. Now move to the upper long base and fasten as we did on the bottom. Secure the 4 corner braces to the upright and the lower cross base. Locate the teardrop pulley and remove the top bolt. Insert the chain bolt into the teardrop pulley and replace the same nut and bolt. It's important not to over-tighten the teardrop pulley. Double check that the sheave spins freely. The teardrop pulley mounts to the number 1 upright and is secured with a nut and washer. It's time to attach the canopy clamp to the winch. Use a piece of tape to help hold the nut in the wrench. Secure the clamp to the winch box using an impact. Set the winch box onto the welded stop and secure it in place using the 4-inch bolts. It's okay to fully tighten these down with an impact at this point. Using a 2.5-inch bolt and washers, we can now secure the spinner knob to the winch wheel. Thread the spinner knob bolt into the winch wheel. Tighten down the jam nut and then double check that the spinner knob moves freely. Remove the bolt and washer from the winch shaft. Fully thread the winch wheel onto the shaft. Reinsert the bolt and washer into the winch shaft. It's now time to assemble the lift bed. When laying out the lift bed parts, it's important to place the corresponding numbers to match the vertical posts. We now need to create a left and a right beam. To do this, all bolts need to be positioned to the inside of the lift. This is done to allow you to fasten the inside corner brace. One long beam requires that you reverse the direction of both 5/8 bolts. To install the corner bracket, remove both inside nuts. Slide the bracket into place and double check that all of the holes line up. Lightly finger tighten down all 3 nuts. Position the bedside bracket using the remaining 2 holes. As you assemble the bed slide bracket, you can secure and fully tighten down all nuts and bolts. Repeat the tightening down process on all 4 corners, and now you're ready to go ahead and slide the bed into place. Go ahead and cut the banding to release the cables. The eyelet cable end gets attached to the bottom of the upright. Secure the eyelet with a 2.5-inch bolt and nut. When done correctly, it should look like this. The cable closest to the inside of the lift goes to the inside hole. An adjustment nut and washer are required on the top of the upright. The remaining cable then goes to the inside hole. Repeat this process on the adjacent post that has double cables. Secure the single cable on the number 2 post. It's important that cables do not cross each other. Align the winch cable clamp nut on the access hole using the cable drum. Loosen the nut to allow the cable to slide through the butterfly clamp. To prevent damage, it's important to have less than 1 inch protruding through the far side of the cable clamp. Retighten the winch clamp nut. While tensioning the cable, spin the wheel clockwise to spool up the excess cable. You're now ready to start the process of leveling the lift bed. Using the adjustment nut on the end of the threaded rod, level the lift bed in all 4 corners. It's important to have a 9/16 inch wrench to hold the threaded rod while adjusting the lift bed. If done correctly, the bed should level to the frame of the lift. You're now ready to apply the second 1/2 inch nut to lock the bed into place. Square up the frame before tightening down all of the remaining bolts on the frame. Center the keel board on the cross beam. Attach using the 9-inch carriage bolts, keel plates, and nuts. Keel boards may not be needed in every application. Use a hammer to pound the head of the carriage bolt into the keel board. You're now ready to tighten down your keel plate. Repeat this process on the other crossbeam. The offset hole will need to face upward. This will be used to secure the cradle bunks. Assemble and position the cradle plates according to your boat hull. Set, drill, and mount your bunks using your trailer as a template. Locate the 2 bunks and measure approximately 9 inches back from the cradle block on the entrance end of your lift. Next, center the hole on the bunk and drill completely through. Repeat this process on the bow end of the bunk. When done correctly, there'll be more overhang on the bow end of the bunk. Insert the carriage bolt through the bunk and secure the cradle block. When securing the carriage bolts into the bunk, it is recommended to recess the head of the bolt into the bunk. Next, you'll need to tap in all your end caps. Double check that all of your nuts and bolts are tightened down. This completes the assembly of the Hewitt 4600 vertical lift.